Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Lycan's Last Breath. Episode 13. Chapter 57. Noah, I hear steps approaching us fast. I sniff the air, they're warriors from the castle. One by one, I have carefully taken the guys out of the crater-like hole in the forest. Fortunately, all of them are alive. Ezra and Arlo are conscious, but very banged up. Colt, Emmett, and Rowan keep drifting in and out of consciousness, presumably from a head injury they sustained. When the warriors get to us, including Lucas and Eli, I instruct them to take the injured warriors to the castle to be treated. But before, I need answers. Tell me everything you remember, I tell Arlo and Ezra, the only ones awake. I don't know what happened, Noah, Arlo begins, but we were making our way to the castle as scheduled, nearing the campsite, when Vera just stopped. She looked terrified and she wouldn't say what was wrong. Then, from behind us, something was approaching us, fast. And it was slicing through the trees like they were butter. I have never seen anything like it in my life. I don't remember much after that, I just woke up in that hole. I'm sorry, he says. I nod, letting the warriors know to take him away to the castle like the rest. It was magic, Ezra says, behind me. He's being carried to the castle by 2 warriors. What? I ask, frowning. It was magic, Noah. It was as if the wind itself suddenly became as sharp as a sword. Vera kneeled down, using her magic to create this hole. If it wasn't for her, that thing would have sliced us all in half. She was barely conscious, if at all, when Harriet and that other woman took her away. I'm shocked at his comment. First, because as I turned to look at the giant hole in the middle of the forest, deep enough to be a water hole, it's hard to believe Vera did this. Secondly, because nobody in this party knew for certain of the existence of witches and magic, much less that Vera is one. As if reading my mind, he continues, I figured it out, he says, she just confirmed it. And this other woman, what did she look like? All I can tell you is that her eyes were white. Noah, be very careful, he says grimly. My blood runs cold. That could only mean one thing. I nod, indicating to the warriors to take Ezra to the castle. Unlike them, I stay behind and when everyone else is gone, I start looking for clues, anything that could point me in the direction of where they might have taken her. I make my way around the hole Vera created, trying to find at least a trail, her scent, anything to guide me to her, but after an hour of meticulous tracking, it's impossible. It's as if she was never even here. A realization hits me like a ton of bricks. What was it Liam had said about Harriet's trail? That it had gone cold because it was as if she had vanished? There is little doubt in my mind that she's working with the witches. But what does that mean for my efforts to track Vera? I'm about to hurry back to the castle to come up with a plan, when something catches my eye at the bottom of the hole Vera created. It's a dark duffel bag, the one Vera was carrying when she left the castle. I quickly slide back down the hole, retrieving the bag and opening it, almost willing a clue to be in here. I don't find any clues, but everything smells like her. With this, I will at least be able to send scouts and trackers with her scent to try and find her. As of now, it's the only way I can think of finding her. I make my way back to the castle, defeated, angry, and frustrated. Had I found Vera's scent, I would be going after her right now, but if this is the witch mother we're talking about, which I believe it is, I have to be smart about it. By the time I enter the castle again, it's already early in the morning. As I make my way to Eli and the others, ready to distribute Vera's clothes to my trackers to try and find her, I'm met with an almost sardonic-looking Alcat at the courtyard with a crowd of people. Your Highness, he greets me with a smile. Eli, Caleb, and Eldon are standing off to a side, with the entirety of the council up front, waiting for me. It takes me a moment to realize what's happening. Today is day 7. The day of the trail. Something inside me begins to stir, but I take a deep breath and try to control it. This is not the time to let my emotions get the best of me, particularly my anger. I move towards Eli, handing him Vera's bag. Hand it out to the scouts and trackers, anything that has Vera's scent. She's missing. I tell him. Both Caleb and Eldon stare at me, shocked. Eli grinds his teeth and nods, taking the bag from me. Slowly, I step in front of the council to stand trial. Well, Your Highness, here we are, Alcat says, and as none of us actually have time to waste, let us cut right to the chase. The documents proving your lineage, do you have them? He asks. My answer is instant. No, I hear a gasp and the thing inside me twirls again. It's not taking kindly to wasting time right now. Well then, I guess the matter is settled, Alcat says. Someone else speaks. Dear council members, I believe this matter can't, in fact, be settled today. I don't know if my fellow council members are aware, but one of our scouting parties was attacked today. Luckily, no one was mortally wounded, but it is a matter we have to look into, and for that we can't be in quarrels with His Majesty, William says. Oh, my dear William, Alcat says, there is no quarrel. It's been settled. There is no document proving he is the legitimate king, and therefore, this council has to take it upon itself to find a worthy king. I grind my teeth. Do whatever you want, Alcat, I really don't have time for any of this. So, if you'll excuse me. I begin walking out of the courtyard, but apparently, I hit a nerve. Behind me, I hear Alcat explode. You dare address me in such manner, warrior Noah. You have no respect for tradition, you have no respect for what this council represents. That is why you are not fit to be king. Not to mention, that little mutt of yours has been nothing but trouble since the moment you brought her here. I snap. This time for real. Whatever awoke within me earlier in the forest is coming in with a vengeance. I feel my Lycan rise to the surface as I take long, quick strides towards Alcat, taking him by surprise. The height at which the council chairs sit will do very little to protect him. When I'm inches from him, my Lycan ready to pounce, I stop. This is something else, something I hadn't felt before. It feels unfamiliar to my Lycan, but it feels very familiar to me. It's like a slow emanation of energy from within me, projecting outward. I see Alcat and the entirety of the council cower, frozen in place. They're staring at me with wide eyes and sweating profusely. Without a second thought, my hand wraps around Alcat's neck, lifting him up in the air and choking him. I watch the life drain out of his eyes as he claws desperate at my arm, unable to free himself. Once he's dead, I let go. His body falls to my feet, unceremoniously. The council is notably affected by this, but still, no one moves. Eli comes in, standing next to me. He takes one look at Olcot's body and smirks. He had it coming. Eli says, handing me an envelope. This was within Vera's bag. You might want to take a look at it. I take the paper from him, hoping it's a clue, but instead, I find something else. I stare at Eli and he nods, slowly. She got it for you, son, he says, putting a hand on my shoulder. I growl slightly, feeling that energy within me again. This piece of paper, this council, this whole shit show is what put Vera in danger in the first place. I toss the piece of paper in front of the council before I crumble it in my hands. Here's your proof. With that, I storm out, Eli following close behind. They're ready to go. I gave each of them a piece of their clothing and they've become familiar with her scent. Caleb, Eldon, and I are going as well. That old man has a better sense of smell than most. I nod, turning the corner of the courtyard towards the exit of the castle. As I'm about to exit, I hear loud footsteps behind me. Noah! Noah! Wait! I turn around to find Kasha running to catch up to us. Noah, I think I can help, she says, gaining my full attention. Vera, I didn't think it was possible, but I went back to sleep in that cold, humid cell after a few hours, unconsciously guarding my stomach with my arm. I must have been very tired for this to happen since I spent hours racking my brain, trying to figure out how this had happened. I had been careful, extra careful in fact. I had taken my birth control as usual all these months and even before leaving to the castle, this shouldn't have happened. Then, I remembered. I missed one pill the night that Noah and I slept together at House Cerulean. One night. One night is all it took. Everything makes sense now. My wolf not wanting to turn, my weird food cravings, my sleepiness, and irritability. The baby should be fine even with me turning to my wolf, since I'm not too far along. Most she-wolves don't even find out they're pregnant this early. But now, I have bigger problems to worry about. I have to protect this baby. If the witch mother finds out that I'm pregnant, I don't know what she would do. Would she keep it? Would she use it for more sinister purposes? What's even more pressing is this baby magical at all? If that's the case, she might be able to feel him if we're not careful. My wolf and I have agreed that she'll stay under the veil, using her magic to guard the baby's presence. Hopefully this will keep the witch mother from finding out about it. Suddenly, the large metal door opens, creaking against the stone floor and drawing my attention. Mistress! She's awake, the cheery, childlike voice says. When she walks in, I notice she does in fact look like a child. She has short, curly hair and the appearance of a teenager. She looks innocent enough. Her appearance is deceiving, however. As she gets closer, the ringing in my ears gets louder, indicating that she is indeed a powerful witch, and as I have seen, a witch can appear any age she wants to. I see, the elegant voice says with a melodic voice. I hear her before I see her as she descends the stairs. When the witch mother comes into the room, it's striking how beautiful she is. She has long, wavy black hair that reaches her hips. She has porcelain-like, fair skin and full, red lips. She's a vision and she walks with such grace and elegance, it's easy to forget that she's actually a monster. "Well, you're looking rather well, aren't you?" she says, approaching the cell and looking at me up and down. "Marcus, can you fetch some water?" she calls out. I hadn't noticed, but a man had come in with her. He had stood at the door as the witch mother made her way to me. He nods, turning around and ascending the stairs. I say nothing as the witch mother paces in front of my cell, never taking her eyes off of me. This goes on for some time, until Marcus returns with a jug of water and hands it to the witch mother. "Here," she says, opening my cell and placing the water jug in it. I eye it, but make no move to go towards it. For all I know, that thing could have poison in it. "Dear, if I wanted you dead, you would be. You are no use to me unless you're alive," she says, closing my cell once again. I didn't notice her using any type of key when she opened the cell. I make a mental note of that. It might be some type of magical lock or spell. "If you don't drink this, I'll force you," she threatens, her voice sounding slightly menacing. It's a reality that I'm dehydrated. I can already feel the symptoms, and if I want to escape, I'm going to have to drink up. I move slowly towards the jug, watching the witch mother carefully. Once I grab it, I down it quickly, some of it spilling down my chin, landing on my robe. It's cold and refreshing. The witch mother smiles at me. It's a warm smile. If I didn't know better, it could even lead me to believe she has redeeming qualities. But I have to remember that she doesn't know that I saw how spirit wolves are created, how she would torture mothers and force them to have babies, to then just discard them like trash. In her eyes, this is the first time we're meeting, when in fact, I know her better than she'd probably like. "Now that you're hydrated, we can proceed," she says. The man, Marcus, comes into my cell. Again, I notice it's the witch mother who opens it. Maybe the spell is linked to her only. Marcus grabs me by the arm, dragging me out of the cell. I don't put much resistance. I have to save my strengths for later. Once out, he puts me in front of the cauldron in the middle of the room, cuffing my arms and feet to the floor with heavy chains. He lifts me up in the air by the turn of a lever on the wall. My arms rise over my head, painfully suspended by the chains as he creaks the lever. I watch the witch mother carefully, observing her every move. She moves towards a table to the side and retrieves a finely decorated knife. It's unlike anything I've seen before, with true white metal and an obsidian handle, but just like my spear, there's a purple crystal dangling from it. This, my child, is a extractionum knife. Us witches use it to draw out power from each other. You see, as much as you hurt a witch, we can always come back, unless you use one of these to drain us of our magic for good. I gulp involuntarily. Yes, exactly, she says with a wide smile, enjoying my fear. "Now, my dear Harriet here came to us some months ago to allege that she knew a witch outside these walls and that said witch had killed our beloved Mehra, but well, we had our doubts to say the least." She turns to look to her side and I follow her gaze. Inside one of the cells, lies Harriet, seemingly unconscious. She believed we would take her in, you see. Since she no longer had a home to go back to, she assumed that if she came with us with this information, that she could stay here, with us. To my side, the little girl laughs loudly, hysterically. But, well, you mutts are only useful for one thing and one thing only, she finishes, looking up at the hooks dangling from the ceiling. Sacrifices. She means sacrifices. After all, we draw our magic from living beings. I hear her say, but to my surprise, she's standing right in front of me, and not a few paces away like she was a second ago. Quickly, she slashes her knife across my cheek, drawing blood. I hiss. For some reason, this wound hurts more than just a regular cut, considering it's a superficial one. It must have something to do with what she explained about the knife. She takes the knife to her lips, quickly dabbing her tongue on the blood. Immediately, her eyes go wide, her mouth slightly gaping. Her white eyes take on a gleam that they didn't have before. She was right, she whispers after several moments. So, she's the one that killed Mehra? The man asks. The witch mother nods, absent-mindedly licking her lips. Marcus, put her back in her cell. Bring her some food and water, she'll need it. Helena, come with me, we have to prepare everything. We start tomorrow. Yes, mistress, they both chime at the same time. Marcus again pulls on the lever, releasing the chains from the ceiling that kept me dangling. This time, however, he doesn't remove the cuffs and instead, bring me into the cell dragged by the chains. It's finally happening, the witch mother muses, pure glee on her face. I notice both Marcus and Helena are beaming with joy, too. All I can do for now, is figure out what exactly this wants, how I fit in, and how I'm going to get out of here. Noah, I think I can help, Kasia had said once she'd caught up to us. I waited patiently for her to catch her breath. I've been practicing, she says. I raise my eyebrow. I've been practicing some tracking spells that I found in the library working with Eldon. I think if I can find something of hers with enough essence, I think I can track her. And how long have you been practicing for? Eli asks, cynical. Long enough, she says, narrowing her eyes. Kasia is young, and from what Vera told me she doesn't have that much magic, not yet at least. But if I won't try every method at my disposal? What do you need, exactly? I ask. Does she have like a childhood toy or something that's been with her a long time? No, that's all back at the pack house and we don't have time to go there right now. She thinks, turning everywhere, searching for ideas. Does her toothbrush work? Eli asks, sarcastically. It annoys me that he'd joke at a time like this, but I let it go for the sake of moving along faster. Noah, I hear a small voice, I think I know what can help. Charlotte comes towards us, slowly. She doesn't look so well. Charlotte. I thought I told you to stay in bed, Kasia says, offering her hand to Charlotte for support. I'm fine, she says, waving her hand dismissively. The flowers, Kasia. Vera's flowers. It takes a minute for this to register. Of course. Kasia says, understanding what Charlotte means, and runs off into the castle. I stare at Charlotte, curious as to what she means and concerned that she looks so sickly. Are you okay? I ask her, guiding her inside the castle to one of the chairs in the courtyard. Thankfully, Olcot's body has already been removed and the council has scattered. It's like nothing happened, not the trial, not his death. Nothing. I'm fine, it's just this baby, it's kicking my ass, she says, sitting down carefully. I'm about to offer to call Ethan, but Kasia returns, panting. This works, she says, holding several flowers in her hands. I move my head, still not understanding a thing. When Vera feels stressed or anxious, she usually channels her magic through the moon peonies, it's why they've grown so much and bloom year-round. So, you're saying these flowers? Eli asks. These flowers have Vera's essence, Charlotte explains, quite literally. Realization dawns on me. If that's the case, this could actually work. My mood lightens up. For the first time since this morning, I feel hope. Kasia, do what you have to do, I tell her. She nods enthusiastically and runs further into the castle again. Charlotte, thank you, but you should really rest, I tell her. She gets up. Yet. It's just, when I heard. I had to come down here and at least try to help, she says, standing up. Charlotte! Someone yells. Charlotte rolls her eyes. Here we go, she mutters to herself. Ethan approaches us with an angry look on his face. Goddess knows this isn't something I want to stay for. I thank Charlotte again and leave her to Ethan. Once I'm outside the castle, I'm met with Eldon and Caleb who are leading the trackers, each of them carrying something belonging to Vera. You didn't actually have to kill him, you know. Caleb mutters when I'm close enough. He absolutely did, Olcott was a huge pain in the ass, Eldon says. It sends a message, Eli shrugs. Yeah, a message of fear. I don't know if that's how you want to lead your people, Caleb says. Listen, we can talk all you want about this literally any other time, but right now, please, let's focus. Very well, Eldon says, we will begin where Vera was taken, from there, we will each move into the forest, trying to pick up a scent. Remember, don't just focus on Vera's scent, focus on any other unfamiliar scent. They might have disguised Vera, but not themselves, Eldon instructs. He promptly changes into his Lycan. It takes us all a minute to process the image. None of us, maybe with the exception of Caleb, had seen Eldon turn. His Lycan is notably old, but very lean under all that grey hair. Eli and I share a look. Caleb just chuckles. We have only ever seen Eldon with an oversized robe too, but it seems like the old man is seriously lean under that. After all, Lycans take after their human shape when it comes to physique. Soon, we are all turned and ready to go when Lucas rounds the corner in his Lycan form, carrying Kasia on his back. We nod at each other and take off. Running full speed in our Lycan form, we get there relatively fast, perhaps in under 4 hours. With the clarity of the day, the level of destruction is scaringly clear. The scouts and warriors with us also have to pause to look at the trees and how cleanly they've been cut. Also, if Lycans could gasp, I'm sure most of them would. The hole Vera created is enormous. She must have used all of her power to create it, which is why she probably passed out and became such an easy target. Eldon and the rest of the trackers start rounding up the hole with their noses up in the air. Some of them are walking on all fours, smelling the ground. Beside me, Lucas has arrived with Kasia and she's setting up a map and taking the moon peonies in her hands. She sits in front of the map, closes her eyes, and begins some form of chant. She opens her eyes again, releasing the moon peonies onto the map from above ceremoniously. She frowns. No, that can't be right. Hold on, she says. She retrieves the flowers, repeating the process all over again. When she opens her eyes again and releases the flowers, she frowns, again. Goddess, what am I doing wrong? She yells, frustrated. She digs into her bag, retrieving an old-looking book. As she does that, I realize that maybe she does need a little more practice before we can rely on her to use her magic. Regardless, I appreciate her effort. I make my way to the trackers, keeping my distance as to not interrupt their process. Eldon is at the lead once again, his nose lifted to carefully sniff out any scent, whether it's Vera's or not. This goes on for a while. Some of the trackers have even had to go back to their starting point to begin the process all over again. At one point, one of the guys thought he had something, but it was just a small prey animal. As the hours pass and we lose daylight, this whole situation gets more and more frustrating. We have repeated this process over and over, having to restart over and over as the guys, even Eldon, lose the smell they were tracking. More than making Vera's scent vanish, it's like they scattered her scent everywhere, making it impossibly diluted with every other scent in this place. After several more hours, the trackers have scattered all throughout the forest, looking for leads. I rub my temples, not only because I'm tired and desperate, but because that thing inside me keeps pouncing in my head. I still don't understand it, but I don't have time for this. I have to find Vera. Now. I got it. Kasia yells in the distance. I make my way to her quickly, without hesitation. When I'm beside her, I crouch down. Here. She says, pointing at a mountain range far, far north. On the map, it connects to the mountains that spread all over Lycan territory, but it's not part of it. I shift back to my human form in order to talk to her. How sure are you of this? She stutters as she tries to speak, staring at me wide-eyed. Oh, right. Get over it, I tell her. She clears her throat, her eyes returning to the map, but it does little to hide her blush. Very sure, I did it 3 times. I'm sure it's correct this time. I frown. It's so far off our territory that the map doesn't even show it completely, it cuts off right behind the mountain range, and that's where the flowers are piled up. I got something, I hear someone say behind me. Eldon comes towards us. At least he was more decent than me and put a robe on. He comes over, pointing north. I didn't catch Vera's scent, but I did catch the scent of a witch and the wind carried it that way. I nod. This is confirmation of Kasia's map, too. On impulse, I change to my Lycan, ready to organize this scouting party into a rescue party, but a voice coming from the woods stops me. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Vera. The rest of the day and night, I was left alone. Marcus only occasionally showed up to bring me food and water, which I ate and drank. I don't even care that it might have poison in it anymore. I have to eat to regain my strengths, not to mention I now have to consider that I'm pregnant. I have to look after my health more zealously. Being left alone, however, did very little to appease the pure anger I feel towards Harriet right now. If she was in the cell next to mine, I would have already figured out a way to kill her in her sleep. How could we not think that this was a possibility? Why would we be so stupid as to allow Liam to handle her? How had she made it to the witches, anyway? The longer I'm here, the more the anger festers, and I let it. In the end, anger might be the emotion I hold on to make it out of here. I barely get some sleep this time, with the cold stone providing very little in the ways of comfort. I lay on my back mostly, thinking of ways I can get out and what the witch mother possibly could have meant when she said it's finally happening. Could she be talking about reproducing my kind? After all, wasn't her main goal to create an army of us? I also spend the rest of the night trying to reach my aunt and grandmother, anyone really, to help me, but it's no use. With my wolf preoccupied with the baby and my energy being drained, I can't contact them through her or my dreams. After all, it takes a lot of energy to appear in their realm. On impulse, I get up and go to the cell door. I mean, it's just a spell, right? Maybe I can break it if I try hard enough. I'm a freaking spirit wolf after all, this should be a piece of cake. I put my hand on the lock, closing my eyes and concentrating on the magical presence of the spell, just like my aunt taught me. I take several deep breaths, steadying my mind and emotions. But after trying for a long while, it's no use. It's as if there is no spell at all. Wait, could it be? I push the door rods, hard, willing it to open. But of course, it doesn't budge, it couldn't be that easy. I exhale, frustrated, and start pacing the entirety of the cell, the chains dragging behind me, trying to come up with a plan. Realistically, again, my only option is to wait until they take me out again, but what then? The heavy chains that are still around my ankles and wrists are impossible to break, not without my wolf anyway. And even if I do, I still have to somehow make it past the witch mother and her 2 assistants. Would you quit it? I hear a voice coming from a few cells down. Harriet. I growl. Oh, shut up, she says. Me? You stupid. Do you realize all you managed to do is get both of us killed? I yell at her, furious. And do you realize that none of this would have happened if you hadn't come along? She yells back at me, coming forth in her cell. Oh, so you're not stupid, it's even worse, you're delusional. I didn't force you to choose Alistair over your mate, you. You chose your own path, and you seriously trapped. Is that what you think this is about? She asks me, I can hear the smile in her voice. I remain quiet, frowning as I wait for her explanation. He changed the minute you showed your stupid face in the castle, and to not even be marked? Of course, he would take a liking to you. Even if you're just some stupid wolf. She yells. My frown deepens. What are you talking about? I ask her. I was going to be his queen. But we couldn't be really together because I had a mate. Can you imagine how his men would view him if he took someone else's mate? That's why he sent Liam off to the woods alone to danger many, many times. He wanted him dead so we could be together. That's until you came along, and everything changed. He only wanted you because you were unmated. Why else would he want a mutt? She hisses. I remain still, processing what she just said. Harriet was jealous of me, because I attracted Alistair? I start laughing, cathartically, for a long moment. I have to bend down and nurse my belly because it hurts from laughing so much. I have tears forming in my eyes. She actually believes that Alistair wanted her, and was not just using her. In truth, he could have had Liam killed any time if that's what he really wanted, but he didn't, because he was just using her, and her having a mate was the perfect excuse to not commit to her. When my laughing subsides, I wipe the tears off my eyes and sigh. It's not even worth arguing with Harriet anymore. This woman is beyond delusional, and there's no arguing with that. Besides, they're only holding me here until they prove you're the one they're looking for, she continues. I roll my eyes, but don't respond. They already tested me and she's still in there, because as the witch mother put it, we are of no use to her unless it's for sacrifices, but I'll let her find that out by herself. I go back to the back of my cell, sitting against the wall. There really is no escaping this, is there? I briefly close my eyes, but I'm awoken by the loud opening of the door. Rise and shine, darling. The witch mother comes in, a dance in her step. It's morning already? Helena and Marcus come in right after her, carrying all sorts of finely decorated crystal jars. They carefully place them on one of the tables the witch mother has prepared. Marcus, she says. He nods and makes his way to me, opening the cell. Again, I watch carefully how he managed to open it, but he didn't use a key. Even if I didn't detect any magic, I'm sure it's a spell. He bends down, grabbing my chains and dragging me out by them. It takes him very little effort since I'm compliant. I still have to figure out what this witch wants from me. He puts me in the same position as before, lifting my arms and pulling on a lever to essentially make me dangle off the floor. It's incredibly painful. Very well, the witch mother says, we can begin. She looks up to me, smiling warmly. I narrow my eyes at her, but say nothing. Mistress, I did good, didn't I? She's the one you were looking for. Harriet says from her cell. Yes, child, you did very good, the witch mother replies, not even looking at her. So, you can let me out. That was the deal, Harriet pleads. All in due time, child, we do after all need a sacrifice for the final spell to work, and, though you're nothing special, you'll do, she replies, sweetly. I turn to Harriet just in time to see her sink to her feet. Whatever hope she had left that the witches would take her in has suddenly vanished. As for you, the witch mother turns to me, again with a smile, I have bigger plans for you, my dearest. She extends a hand to the side and Helena quickly approaches her with the knife she showed me yesterday and one of the finely decorated crystal vases. Let's begin, she says. She approaches me with the knife, plunging it into my leg without warning. I squirm in pain. I don't think I've ever felt pain like this ever in my life. I don't know how to explain it, but it's as if that knife cut straight through my bone and then some, though from the amount of blood spilling out, the wound isn't that serious. The mother puts the vase against my leg, collecting my blood. Once she's satisfied, she caps it off and hands it to Marcus, licking the remaining blood on the knife with her tongue. I turn my head to look at what they collected, and sure enough, it's blood, but it looks iridescent in the crystal vase. Just like my wolf's coat. I frown at it. That's your essence, child, the witch mother explains. All living beings' essences are carried through their blood, witches and warlocks are no different. Only our essence is slightly sparked with magic, but yours. She holds the knife against the fire in the middle of the room and sure enough, the blood on it also appears iridescent. Yours isn't only sprinkled with magic, it is magic. She smiles at the blood on the knife and then she turns to Marcus, nodding. Marcus promptly leaves, taking the vase with him. After several minutes, when my wound has already healed, Marcus returns, a shocked look on his face. Well? The witch mother asks him. He nods slowly, incredulous. Helena squeals, jumping up in the air in excitement. The witch mother claps. Very well, then, we proceed, she says, taking another vase from the table. Why are you doing this? I ask her. Ah, she speaks, the witch mother says, coming to stand in front of me with an even bigger vase, because you, my dear, will be our savior. You and you alone, will return witchkind to its former glory. She smiles at me affectionately, quickly jabbing the extractionum knife into my other leg as I once again squirm in pain. Noah, I wouldn't do that if I were you, a voice said from behind the tree line. I turn in the direction of the voice, and to my surprise, Saudira steps out of the woods, followed by her men. How did we not hear or smell them coming? I turn back to my human form. Saudira eyes me up and down with a smile, which, under the circumstances, makes my blood boil. And yet, I have to rein in my temper. Why's that? I ask. Her eyes finally meet mine. I have scouts everywhere, Your Highness. It's an essential part of our survival, and my scouts would rather lose an arm and a leg than be sent over to that mountain. Why? Eli asks next to me. My warriors and scouts have come to stand behind me in their Lycan form. They're unfamiliar with these people and it's better to be ready in case of a fight. Well, 9 out of 10 men simply never come back. They just, she gestures with her hand in the air, vanish. Vanish. There's that word again. Behind Saudira, I sense movement. Coming from behind her men, Liam steps around them and towards us, this time without the fear facade. There are rumors of witches beyond the mountain range. If that's where they took Vera, you'll definitely need a better plan, he says. I raise an eyebrow at him. Isn't he supposed to be undercover? Almost as if reading my mind, he says, I got caught, he shrugs. Saudira huffs loudly. He almost ran after you at the clearing, it's clear to me where his loyalties lie, she rolls her eyes, but, he also told me everything. I'm very sorry your mate is missing, she says, sincerely. Thank you, I say, trying to keep this conversation short. I really don't care about any of this, I just need to find Vera and bring her back home safely. How do you know what's going on over there if your men are just getting killed? Caleb asks after a while. I said 9 out of 10. We have useful information from the ones that have survived, she says, not once taking her eyes off of me. This is all too good to be true and I have no time waste, so I decide to be straightforward. Why are you here? I ask her bluntly. I want to help you. If you want to plan an attack, you can't go in there blind, much less if the rumors are true. And what do you want in exchange for this information? I ask her, doubtful of her intentions. I want your throne, she says forthright with a smile. Behind me, I can feel everyone's tension like electricity in the air. Done. I tell her immediately. Noah, Caleb warns behind me. The kingdom, the throne, the castle, take it all. I need to find her, I tell her, resolute. She turns serious for a moment, trying to read me. It doesn't take her long to figure out that I'm being completely serious. After all, this is my mate we're talking about. Let's regroup at that famous castle of yours then, might as well get to know our future home, right boys? Behind her, her men start to howl excitedly. I see Liam noticeable cringe. Let's go then, I say, walking a few paces away from everyone in the direction of the castle. Everyone follows behind me and when Sadira is close enough, I smirk at her. I lied, I tell her and she turns to me looking rather serious. There isn't actually a throne, I say, turning into my Lycan, but not before I see her narrow her eyes at me. On the run back I think about what I just committed to. The entire kingdom. My birthright. Everything Vera and I and everyone else have been working for the last half a year almost. But if that's her condition, I'll take it. Time is of the essence and, quite frankly, the single most important thing to me is Vera. Without her, life isn't even worth living anymore. I have the confidence that she's still alive, I can feel it. I just need her to hang on for a bit longer. Once we approach the castle, the sun has vanished and I'm in a hurry to get everyone together to plan out a strategy with Sadira's information. Before we even approach the entrance, I'm already making a mental list of the things we'll need. First of all, we need a map to set up our strategy clearly. While most of our forces march, we'll need an initial scouting party to leave as soon as possible and meet us back halfway to report to us. If what Sadira said is true, we'll need a big enough scouting party to ensure at least one of them comes back alive. Putting my men at risk like this is not only uncharacteristic of me, but it also really sets a bad precedent. If this were anyone else, I wouldn't even try to rescue them at the cost of so many lives, but Vera is not just anyone. When I snap out of my thoughts, something grabs my attention before stepping out of the tree line. There are no guards. Not in the perimeter, not at the entrance, and not up in the wall posts. What is going on? My Lycan's ears perk up, trying to hear anything out of the ordinary, but the only thing not normal is just how quiet it is. Watch out! Someone yells behind me. Kasha! Out of the forest surrounding us, right in front of the castle, an army of Lycans come pouring out, attacking us. The struggle soon follows, with my men launching themselves in front of me to take care of the first wave of attackers. My heart is beating fast, and even though Lycans don't sweat in our best forms, I feel sweaty and feverish. All of the hairs in my body rise and my chest is huffing and puffing with labored breaths. I start shaking. I don't have time for all this bullshit. My blood is boiling just imagining what those witches are doing to Vera, and the longer this goes on, I'm less likely to find her alive. Then, I feel it coming. Whatever that sensation is that I've been feeling lately looming just below the surface is coming now and I can't stop it. In fact, I don't want to stop it. Not anymore. I growl inwardly, letting it free. Then, I see red. I let out a big, deafening howl into the air, and for a brief second, everyone stops, shaken, even my guys. Then, quickly, I start ripping through the enemies, one head and limb at a time. This has never been easier. I'm moving through them as if I can move twice as fast as they can. I'm biting down on their necks, their limbs, their chests, as if they were prey animals. When I swing one in the air, another one quickly follows. All I care about right now is ending this. Now. Slowly, I notice all of their efforts are now targeted towards putting me down, but it's useless. I see them coming almost as if they're moving in slow motion. I take them down one by one. Limb after limb. Head after head. Occasionally, I even plunge my arm into their chest, effectively stopping their hearts. After several minutes, it's finally over. I have either killed the enemies or frightened them enough so that they won't dare continue the fight, those are the lucky ones. Once I come to again, everyone is looking at me in terror, even my own warriors. Sadira has her hand over her mouth, shocked and terrified. I'm breathing heavily from the exertion and my fur feels heavy, no doubt soiled with blood. I look around me and realize I really may have overdone it. The ground around me is littered with bodies, and I'm sure most of them died by my hand. And the truth is, I couldn't care less. I need to find her. I turn back to my human form, stepping away from the stunned group of Lycans behind me. When I reach the castle, the remaining council members are waiting for me at the entrance, having witnessed the fight, if you can even call it that. Council member Caldwell is gaping at me, fear evident in the sweat dripping from his forehead. He stares at the pile of bodies and back at me several times. I, he stutters. No one else says a word, too stunned to react. But something inside me, that thing I just let free back there, speaks for me. Kneel. I tell him. He stutters more. Kneel. I tell him, again. Behind him, every other council member kneels without a second thought. In a few seconds, my request registers in Caldwell's mind and he, too, kneels. Beside him, I turn to a man I had never seen before. He looks rough, several scars on his face and arms. He's staring at me defiantly and I come to stand in front of him. I don't care who he is. I don't care what he's doing here. All I want is for him to kneel, I tell him. He gulps. All the other men here have already complied, even his men from what I can tell. My Lycan begins to swirl in my eyes. I will not tell him again. As if reading my thoughts, this man kneels, too. Once I'm satisfied, I make my way into the castle, headed straight to our room to quickly clean up and put some clothes on. Now the real work can begin. Vera, please hang on. Vera og. I scream in pain again as the with mother's knife turns in my leg. I'm panting and slagging against the restraints that keep me hanging from the ceiling. We've been at this for hours now, they're pushing me more and more each day that passes. The witch mother examines the knife, or rather my blood on the knife, against the fire. She says, let's leave her be for the time being, we'll continue tomorrow. I'm sweaty and exhausted, in fact, I feel like I'm about to pass out. These past few days have been just like this. I wake up, Marcus takes me out of my cell and hangs me like an animal on the main room, and the witch mother pokes me multiple times with the knife, extracting my blood and magic. Then, either Marcus or Helena take me back to my cell and periodically bring me food and water for the rest of the day. When morning comes, the cycle begins again. Mistress, she looks very pale. Helena says as she delicately places glass caps on the jars filled with my blood. Yes, I do believe I may have overdone it this time, the witch mother muses, uninterested. We drained her completely of her magic, meaning she may be close to death as it is. Maybe we'll give her a few days to recover. I perk up slightly at this. Just the motion of trying to lift my head, though, makes me incredibly dizzy. I'm aware of how much blood they've been taking. It's more than any normal human would bear, or werewolf for that matter, but since I have Noah's healing abilities, they can push me further. Perhaps they don't even know just how far themselves. I start shaking. Marcus, the witch mother says. Marcus approaches the lever on the wall, pulling it and letting me fall to the floor with a big thump. I continue shaking on the floor. My body is so numb at this point that I barely even feel the pain of the fall. When Marcus approaches me and tries to drag me by the chains, he realizes I'm not standing at all and instead, he's just dragging my limp body across the floor. Truth is, I'm even weaker than I was when I first came in. Marcus approaches me, lifting me up and carrying me into my cell. He places me on the floor, on my back, and carefully removes the hair from my face, putting his palm on my forehead. My eyes are closed in an attempt to fight off a dizzy spell. Mistress, I think we have found her limit, he says, removing his hand from my face and wiping it on his shirt. I feel cold and clammy all over, a clear indication of severe blood loss. I hear the cell door close and the witch mother's whimsical steps approaching. She says, she'll recover, but definitely not for tomorrow. I hear her walk away. Anyway, let her rest, we'll work with what we have collected so far. Hopefully it'll be enough for our purposes. For now, that is. Oh, mistress. So, then she'll be all yours. Helena cheers, heading towards the door behind her queen. That's right, my little one, she says. There's an ominous pause. After this, she'll be all mine, she says, and I can almost hear the malicious laugh in her voice. The doors close behind the three of them, finally leaving me alone. It takes me several hours to even begin to recover. Apparently, having my magic extracted like this is even worse than being physically wounded. It's a literal extraction of my essence, whatever that means. Noah's healing abilities have gone a long way keeping me alive, but it's not something it can quicken my recovery from. With each passing hour, I can feel myself drift in and out of consciousness. Occasionally, I even hear either Helena or Marcus come in to bring me food and water, something Harriet doesn't have the luxury of, apparently. PSST I hear, eventually. If I had the energy, I'd roll my eyes. Forget it, I whisper. You're not eating any of it. It's going to waste. What's the point? I say in a low voice, didn't you hear her? We'll both be dead in a few days' time. Harriet huffs. You'll be dead, you mean? It's you they want. You're what everyone wants, there is heavy resentment in her voice. You still don't get it, do you? I keep my voice low, trying to save my energy. Whatever they have planned for me, needs a blood sacrifice, Harriet. That's literally what that she told you, did you not hear her? She remains quiet. Goddess, Harriet. What happened to you? You were one of the best female warriors in the castle, you had a wonderful mate, how did you turn into this? If you hadn't trapped us over, I would even feel sorry for you. Weak, she whispers and pauses for a few moments before continuing, what I had was a weak mate. He didn't deserve me. Oh, and you think Alistair was strong? Please, I remark. Alistair was king, she says. Alistair defeated the previous king Alexander and took the throne. It takes guts to do that kind of thing. But you also have to be very stupid to be manipulated by a witch. Alistair was Mehra's puppet, Harriet. Goddess, I don't even know why I bother with you. We both remain silent after this, until I hear her stomach growling loudly. I curse myself, trying my best to sit up. When I manage to do this, I basically drag myself to the food they placed inside my cell, taking the bread and throwing it into Harriet's cell. She hurries to it, eating it ravenous desperation. I look at my plate to see if there's anything else I can throw her way. There's some fruit that doesn't look too appetizing, but under her circumstances, I don't think she'll care. I throw the overripe peach and apple to her cell, too. I regret it immediately. Just the effort of tossing food a few meters sends me into a dizzy spell again. I have to grab onto the cell rods for support. I close my eyes, leaning into the cell rod, trying my best not to throw up. What about you? Harriet says. Let's just say I'm not hungry. I tell her, gulping back the urge to vomit. I try to focus on the coolness of the iron against my face and try to breathe more evenly. After several moments, I finally feel steady enough to open my eyes again. When I do, I notice Harriet is looking at me concerned. Are you okay? She asks. I ugh loudly and basically crawl back to my spot at the back of the cell and once again, lay on my back. I lose track of time. Hours upon hours pass and I again drift in and out of consciousness. I vaguely hear when people shuffle in and out of my cell, but I feel too ill to notice who it is each time. One day, I even heard the witch mother come into my cell. I recognized her by the distinctive smell of dead roses she carries with her. She needs a few more days, she says. I vaguely catch what she said, but, did she say few more days? How long have I been in this state? Minutes have become hours. Hours have become days. I can't seem to keep track of time. I do feel marginally better as the hours or days pass, but it's definitely not enough. It makes me wonder if the baby is also playing a part in my state. I remember with Sophia's pregnancy, she spent more hours sleepy and tired than not. Thinking of the baby fills my heart with grief. The longer I'm here, the harder it becomes to think of us getting out of this alive. With a shaky hand and closed eyes, I lift my hand to my stomach, where Noah's little pup is growing. A silent tear escapes the corner of my eye. I'm sorry. I tell the baby, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. My wolf comes to the surface if only just for a moment. It's the first time I've seen her since the witch mother began extracting magic from us. She looks even worse than I feel. She's skinny, weak, I can see her bones. Her eyes are sunken and sad. She's slouched, keeping her head down. I touch her cheek. I know, I tell her, I know you're trying your best. I feel more tears slipping to the cold, stone floor. I can't seem to make them stop. Suddenly, however, I hear the heavy metal doors open and my hand flies to my side, no longer resting on my stomach. My wolf also retreats, once again using whatever magic she has left to hide the baby's presence. Quickly, I dab the tears from my face as the cell door opens. I open my eyes just in time to see the witch mother poke my arm with her knife. I don't even gasp anymore. I've grown so used to her stupid knife that the pain no longer surprises me. She's not healed yet, but it'll do, she says. I see her eyeing the blood on the knife and there is some spark to it, meaning at least some of my magic is back. She nods at Marcus and obeying the silent order, he comes in and carries me out of my cell. Leave her on her feet, I need to have access to her heart, she says, her back turned to me. Access to my heart. My heartbeat begins to quicken. Is this it? Is this how it's going to end? When the witch mother turns to me again, I notice she has a much larger knife this time. It's longer and sharper than the extraction knife from before, it has more reach. I begin fighting my restraints with every little amount of energy I have. It's a feeble attempt, but it's instinctual. The witch mother comes close to me, putting her hand on my cheek. Well, my dear, it's been a pleasure, truly. Words can't express how grateful I am that your path and mine crossed. You truly will be the salvation of witches. Ironic, no, she says, smiling. She then nods at Helena, who goes into Harriet's cell and drags her out but her hair. No, please. No, she begs, but it's no use. With a quick spell, Helena binds her legs and arms onto the floor, making her immobile. Why are you doing this? Have you not taken enough blood already? I yell at her, afraid. I want to delay the inevitable as long as possible. Enough blood, yes. In fact, enough to build myself an army, she says. I freeze. Build an army? Vera, build an army? I ask her, repeating her words to her. Well, yes dear, we can't take over the other species without manpower, she says, as if this explanation was obvious. I remain quiet and she rolls her eyes at my baffled face, it's as if her words registered only mechanically in my brain. I still don't know what she means. I might as well, She shrugs. You'll soon make me truly immortal anyway, she says, and I gulp. My dear, witches might be arrogant and dismissive of other species. I undoubtedly am guilty of such, but we're not idiots. We learn from our mistakes. Last time, the traders banded with wolves and Lycans to bring an end to witchkind. You see, there was a small faction of rebels that no longer believed in our cause, which is ridiculous, of course. Our cause has always been the supremacy of witches and warlocks, but all of a sudden, these people just had a problem with it. Apparently, our methods, which they too participated in by the way, became too unsavory for them. She turns around, carefully cleaning the large knife. So, as I said, I've learned from our previous mistakes. Now, with this new revival of our kind, dissenting voices will not be tolerated and we will eliminate all other species. We'll only keep humans alive, as livestock of course, their life force isn't much, but they're numerous so they'll do. There's a long silence as I feel a chill creeping up my spine. She plans to kill everyone? Sophia and her babies. Dr. Owens. Violet and the girls. Lucas, Eli, Eldon. Noah. I feel tears begin to well up in my eyes. Despite how dehydrated I am, they manage to fall on my cheek. The witch mother turns around, almost as if sensing this. She comes closer to me with a smile on her face and wipes my tears away with a delicate finger. Don't be sad, my child. I'll make sure you don't live long enough to see it, she says, turning and nodding at Helena and Marcus. Both of them carefully approach the table with the knife, linking their hands together and beginning to chant a spell. Slowly, each lifts up a palm towards the knife to channel their magic. While I'm looking at this scene, the witch mother is watching me closely. She takes her slender fingers and places them below my chin, forcing me to look at her dead in the eyes. You know, your eyes seem awfully familiar for some reason. That shade of green, she muses, lost in thought. Mistress, Helena calls. The witch mother stares at me a little while longer and I even manage to narrow my eyes at her in anger, but it does little to nothing to intimidate her. She lets go of my chin and my face falls. I have no energy to hold it up. Very well. Let's proceed, she says, turning around and walking towards Harriet. My ears begin to buzz a little as the witch mother raises her hands over Harriet, chanting a spell I don't recognize. However, I can feel the power emanating from her. This is the first time I've been in the presence of her magic. She's more powerful than I could have imagined. When she finishes the spell, Harriet is in tears, begging for her life. The witch mother extends her hand towards Helena and she brings her the knife she had been cleaning earlier, the same one Marcus and Helena were chanting over. No, please, I beg you. I promise I can be of use to you, mistress, if you only give me a chance, Harriet says through sobs. Mistress, I can bind her lips if you'd prefer, Marcus offers. Nonsense, she says, grabbing the knife and hovering it over Harriet. I like it when they beg, she says. With one swift and precise movement, the witch mother stabs Harriet in the chest. From the location, I know that must have been a clean stab through her heart. The witch mother's maneuver was so swift, though, that Harriet didn't even make a sound as the blade impaled her. I watch the life drain out of her eyes as the witch mother further turns the knife inside her chest, coating it with blood. The witch mother, Helena, and Marcus have their eyes closed as they chant again and again the same phrase. After a while, the witch mother removes the knife from Harriet's chest, letting her body fall limp to the ground. I turn away from the scene. As much as I hated Harriet and wanted to kill her myself, I still find myself having mixed feelings about her death. The witch mother holds up the knife with delicacy as it drips with blood. Only it doesn't look like normal blood, it's thick and black as it coats the white blade. As she approaches me, I begin fighting against the restraints again. At this point, even my wolf has somewhat come up to the surface to grant me any strength she's got left in one last attempt to save ourselves and the baby. Stay away from me, you, I hiss as the witch mother's careful steps bring her closer and closer to me. Marcus, she says unperturbed, completely focused on the task. Marcus comes forward, ripping my gown at my chest, exposing it completely to her. Both Helena and Marcus have their heads down in silent chanting. I can't hear what they're saying, but I can hear what the witch mother is chanting, over and over again. Her eyes are completely glazed over as she reaches me, placing the tip of the knife to my chest, directly over my heart. I start panting and my heart starts beating faster. Whatever her spell is, it's undeniably starting to have an effect on my body. I'm getting even weaker as her chanting gets louder and louder in my head. My limbs go numb. My entire body feels cold and sweat drips down my forehead. I'm slowly losing my vision as everything is starting to become blurry. This can't be how I go. This can't be how it ends for us. I still have to get back to Noah. I close my eyes, trying to come up with something, anything, as a last resort. My wolf has come close to me now, putting herself behind me as support. She's no longer protecting the pup. Her complete and undivided attention is on me, on us, trying to save us, for our pup, for our mate. I feel the tip of the knife begin to break my skin, causing a level of pain I had never experienced before. I scream in pain and my wolf cringes, too. This not only hurts me, it's hurting her, too. The knife inches closer to my heart with anguishing slow movements. And then, out of nowhere, everything goes black. I can't feel my wolf, I can't feel my pup, I can't even feel the knife penetrating my skin anymore. My breathing has slowed down, as if I'm no longer in distress. It's an eerie feeling between relief and crippling grief. There's only one thing that could be happening right now, a truth I'm going to have a hard time accepting. I close my eyes, which is inconsequential since I can't see anything through the darkness, and let my tears fall to my cheeks with abandon. This was it for me. I am, without a shadow of a doubt, dead. But then, a blinding light warms up my face, forcing me to open my eyes. I blink several times, adjusting to the change in light, and wipe the tears off my eyes. Is this the afterlife? I look around, surprised to find that this place is one I know very well. Jade Waterfall? My child, I hear a warm voice behind me, I've been waiting for you. Vera, I turn around, finding Victor Blackwood standing behind me with a warm smile and kind eyes, eyes that are identical to mine. Dad. I say, tentatively. I don't know what's going on, but if I'm here with him, I'm definitely dead. He chuckles, coming closer to me and hugging me. It takes me a minute to respond, but I hug him back eventually, taking solace in the warmth of his embrace. I couldn't do it, I say, swallowing hard to avoid crying again. He rubs my hair with his hand. It's okay, Vera. The witches are back, I tell him. He says nothing, he just keeps rubbing my hair as my face is pressed against his chest. They're going to kill everyone, I sob. SHH, he says. After a few moments, when I've somewhat calmed down, he puts his hands on my shoulders and pushes me gently away from him. He looks into my eyes. It's uncanny, he muses, you really do have my eyes. Your mother predicted it, you know. My mother? I ask, suddenly my mind drifting away from what's happening in the world of the living. Yes, he chuckles, she somehow knew you'd have my eyes. And her temper, thankfully. Where is she? I ask, my heart starting to beat faster. Not here, he says with sad eyes, but, do you want to see what she looked like? I nod enthusiastically, completely immersed in whatever afterlife or daydream this might be. Come, he says, taking my hand and guiding me into the pool at the end of the waterfall. It's late at night, the sun isn't shining and there is a new moon in the sky. For some reason, however, this makes the waterfall, or rather its rocks, shine with a green brilliance unmatched by anything I've ever seen. It's as if the light emanated directly from millions of crystals within the water. Take a deep breath, he says, and I comply. He proceeds to submerge us both in the waterfall, guiding me as we swim deep into the pool. I gasp as we swim further down, met with a view I didn't expect. So, the legends were true. The Jade Waterfall is indeed not comprised entirely of rocks, but rather many formations of green crystals within the rocks, emeralds, just like my necklace. Victor turns around, noting that I'm just floating, marveling at the sight, and signals for me to continue. Soon, we are within a tunnel, illuminated by the millions of green crystals. When we reach the end, we can finally come up for air. To my surprise, however, when we emerge, we are not in the forest. In fact, we are directly in front of another pack house, one I do not recognize. Victor extends his hand to me, helping me out of the pool of water which quickly disappears before my eyes as we emerge from it. That's her, he motions towards two teens playing hide and seek at the entrance of the pack house. I frown. She's a teen, I tell him, lifting up my eyebrow at him. He puts up his hands defensively. Don't hold it against me, I didn't plan for this to happen this way, he says, and then turns to look at the playing lot with a fond smile, but this is the day I first saw her. I turn back to look at the teens. They must be around 16 years old. There's a tall, blonde girl playing with another, more petite brunette. You're it. The blonde girl says, slightly pushing the other girl and dashing off into the distance. The brunette is about to follow her friend, but something distracts her. I knew she was the love of my life right around, Victor muses. As if called by name, the brunette whips her head around to examine the tree line. My heart skis several beats. That's her, I say without a shadow of a doubt. She's smaller than I imagined, and yet she has my same frame. Her eyes are kind and her smile is bright. Her long, wavy hair blows gently in the wind as she turns back to look at the forest, her smile dropping slightly. She squints her eyes, which I now notice to be honey-colored. I turn in the direction she's looking, a few meters to our right. I gasp. A hooded figure standing right at the tree line is staring right back at her. I stare between both of them before finally putting the pieces together. I remember the wind carrying me that day. I don't know if it was her scent, her essence, her spirit, or just her smile, but the entire cosmos conspired for us to become aware of each other right this day, right this time, Victor says, not being able to take his eyes away from her. After a few moments, my mother has not moved an inch and neither has my father. They're just staring at each other and I can almost feel their excitement, their fear, their realization, and their connection. Victor breaks my trance. Come, he says, turning away from the scene and walking into the forest. I follow him until we reach a clearing, another scene suddenly unfolding before my eyes. Victor, put me down, she squeals, pure delight in her voice. I see Victor twirling my mom up in the air in his arms. Her hair is much shorter now and she seems older. She was about your age here. We had finally begun dating, unbeknownst to her clan, of course. But we were so happy. There's a tint of sadness in his tone and when I turn to look at him, his eyes are glassy. This is the day we decided to run away together, he continues, not taking his eyes away from the scene. What was her name? I finally ask, wanting to focus on anything other than his sadness. Alina Allen, he says. My head snaps in his direction. Did you just say Allen? He chuckles. I understand your surprise. She was not actually an Allen, so to speak. She was a descendant of their line, but even from previous generations, her family no longer carried the name. The gene had become too diluted to be considered Allen's. I only know because I knew several of her ancestors. This takes me several moments to process. I begin, but close my mouth. That makes you a descendant of the Allens, too, he tells me and I turn to look at him. That's why your connection to Sophia is so strong. That's why you two could mind link even without your wolf. You two are related. Distantly, that is, but the Allens have always had strong blood connections. I frown, letting all of this sink in. That's why they had to be the ones to take care of you, he says, even if they didn't know exactly who you were, they'd naturally feel drawn to caring for you and protecting you. I turn to him. Why couldn't it be you? Why couldn't it be Mom? I ask, suddenly angry at him for all those years I felt abandoned and unwanted. He turns serious. Because we knew what was coming, Vera. I knew what was coming. When I met your mother, we had already crossed paths several hundred years before, and I knew you were my daughter the instant I laid eyes on you. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but I also knew what you were, even if through a time leap vision, I could sense your power and I could smell your wolf, and for the first time in my life, I knew real fear. Time leap vision? He can't mean, the time I was unconscious back at the pack house? The vision I had with him waiting for a carriage, and the vision I had with him at Jade Waterfall. I knew he had seen me, but how is it possible that he remembers me? It was just a vision, after all. I always thought they were like dreams that happened in my head. A vision of a different time. I gulp. He continues, so, you see, we had to make sure you were protected, we had to make sure that the witches couldn't get to you. That's why I asked my mother and sister to block your magic, hoping it would give you a chance at a real life, a happy life. I even transferred myself into Jade Waterfall to be close to you, to protect you. I interrupt him, you did what? I ask, bewildered. The spell you saw me do at Jade Waterfall transferred my essence to the emeralds within the waterfall. The underwater caves run several hundred miles into every direction, and so do the gemstones. I fussed my spirit, so to speak, with the emeralds, so that I could ward off dark magic from the Allen clan, from you. My mouth is hanging open, realization dawning on me. That's why the forest always felt like home, I whisper. He smiles warmly. Yes, he says. I was there for every tumble, every fall, for every time you felt the wind on your face and hair, and for every time the forest spoke to you. I was there. Tears start to fall from my tired eyes. I always felt so, alone, I reminisce. But never lonely, he says. I smile at him. No, never lonely. He places his warm hand on my cheek and I lean into the touch, feeling like a heavy burden has been lifted from my heart. His touch does feel like home. Maybe this is what the afterlife is for making peace with everything and everyone that once hurt us or made us sad. Making peace with a life cut too short. Making peace with all the what-ifs. I turn to him as his face turns up after a while, his smile falling. Well, I guess it's time, he finally says, and suddenly, we are transported back to Jade Waterfall. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.